Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here, one more time. And I'd like to share with you, if I may. You know, if you think about some of the things that we as black people have to go through, we as people of color, we as minority, we as poor people, we have to go through some trying times. And we commit of ourselves to do whatever we can in most instances to be above the failures, give of ourselves to be success. And mostly all of those things that we possibly can. And that's a good thing that you and everyone else should be recognized for, because we truly indeed are living at some times when things can go quite wild. I'm saying this, ladies and gentlemen, because I reflect back on things perhaps that you get a chance to focus on because of certain instances that draws you back to rethink some stuff, maybe even go back and do some research on some stuff. And after doing that, you contemplate the things and you're reminded how things have always been for we, the group of people that I just identified. I think about when people, certain groups of people that falls within this category, have outstanding accomplishments. And within a 400-year period, I'm sure that happened a great number of times. But the times that we can think of most recent, perhaps that is not that far, and say in 1898 in Wilmington, North Carolina, or in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1921. These are just some little instances that really can show you how black people themselves can really be moving on. And in every instance, it destroyed. And death comes. It appears as if, for some strange reason, all history that a known history, should I say, when it comes down to white people, my brothers and my sisters, they have a reputation of killing and destroying everywhere they go. And we have been victims of it for a long time. And it seems as if it's not going to stop. We are talking about a virus that's been going around. We don't know where it's come from, but we do know its presence. We know it's doing damage. And at the same time, we find people who are more concerned about human life than anything. And they will stand up for what's right. And then there are those who care nothing about human life, but care everything about what's important to them, and that usually is being important, power, money. And so when it comes down to a choice between who you're going to look after, who you're going to preserve, or which one really have the most importance to you, you're going to reflect on money. And if it means money means putting people back to work, which means might be putting people's lives at risk so that you can have money, then so be it. Casualties of life. That's what the current system says. I'm sure not just in America, but probably all over the world. People probably try different techniques, different methods, but the efforts are to achieve the same: money, power. And so, ladies and gentlemen, when we think about that, that being the most important thing, you know, it appears as if sometimes somebody should have some kind of plan. Somebody should be thinking about something else other than just the fact that it's happening. I say, considering the lives that the police who have been charged to serve and protect, and how they have treated the minority, how they've treated we black men, I'm so glad I'm an old man now. I've lived a long time. I've seen all of this junk before. And I want you to know I'm in agreement with another brother that is quite renowned right now. This stuff is not going to go anyplace. When we have walked the streets, made some noise, and burned a few stores that belonged to some people who went and burned up cities and burned up blocks and whole towns and murdered the folks in town, getting upset because it must be very important. Property means a lot to them. So you know, when if you were going to fight a war with them, it's not going to be with guns because they don't care about that. You have to destroy their property. They care about that. They might even leave you alone. But we don't want to go that route. There's a much better route when we can face the truth. And this is why I'm here to offer you some alternatives to what you are probably considering right now. And I say that because as I've listened to the news, I've listened to social media and other outlets, and I haven't heard the type of conversation that suggests that you, the people, we, the people who are victims of all of these years of so much pain and so much suffering, that we don't seem to be making the right moves at this point in time. So I come before you to suggest, ladies and gentlemen, that we pay attention to what's happening around us, that we observe what's going on around us, and that we can make some moves that make some sense, that we can make some calculations that will lead to some outcomes that will benefit us all. Now here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Our Heavenly Father, for those of you who don't know me, I talk about God all the time. I talk about a power you can't see, you can't touch, you can't feel, and you can't conjure up some emotion to say that's God. But the evidence of God is always here. You see me, that's evidence of God. You see my surroundings, evidence of God. The earth, you, evidence of God. Now I speak as that power that is able to do all of that. That power is able to control and have a relationship with me. Just like they talked about having a relationship with somebody in the Bible. Now they say that's true. I don't know anything about that, but I do know that God have a relationship with me. I know that God has given me some information that He probably have given to all of you, but you maybe didn't see it the way I saw it. And maybe He didn't. But I also know that to whom much is given, much is required. And so it is my duty to talk to you about God, a God of love. A God that is different than the God you know of, the God we've been taught of. See, in our system, we come into the world, we are taught by our parents. Our parents, they serve as God. And then when we mature to a certain point, we're ready to step out into the world and let the sunlight of God shine on us, and we can live and be what we were made to be, but we only find out we step out into a system held down by a bunch of laws to dictate and to guide us what we are to do as we satisfy some human power that doesn't give a stink about the human beings themselves. And here we are today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, I got a message from George Floyd's death that perhaps many of you did not get. And I want to share that message with you. Having considered that over 400 years we have lived as slaves. Over 400 years, that's a long time. And in that 400 years, no one has done anything to relieve you from that. The talk has been given, the Constitution Amendment signed, and here we stand today, slaves, all of us, including my white brothers. Slaves, you know what that means? That means we don't have freedom. That means we'll not even have living. Whatever living lifestyle you got right now, you're not even have living. The message that George Floyd's death gives to me. That young man who had a knee on his neck, a white police officer entrusted to serve and protect, and is even being paid to do just that, finds it no problem to take another citizen that has been already labeled as a non-citizen, an alien, an ape, a slave, had the audacity to take this brother down, to murder this brother, putting his knee on this brother's neck, George Floyd, with his hand in his pocket and people around watching and the cameras rolling. And he was just as relaxed as could possibly be as he takes this brother's life. What that represented to me, ladies and gentlemen, it first of all represented the white power structure in the United States of America. It represents what we call white supremacy, who have given murderers, killers like this, a gun and a badge to go around and hassle people of color. Do whatever you want to them. Get off with it all the time. That represent the powers in America, Central America, South America. It represents the power all over the globe. Wherever powers are, there's somebody dominant. It happens in China, it happens in the Philippines, it happens in Russia, it happens in Germany, it happens everywhere. You reach a point, the people reach a point that they're disgusted with what's going on, and the system tells you that you got to take it whether you like it or not. And they will kill you, or they will beat you with billy clubs and gas and masks. You might as well have dogs and fire hoses on you, because you do not matter. This is the truth, ladies and gentlemen. That represents the power of the world. And this brother, my brother, George Floyd, a victim, chosen, selected to become renowned, would hang with men like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, great men who have given their lives for a cause. And I don't know if George planned this. I don't know if he was aware of this, but apparently he was because he was chosen. Just like God chooses anybody to do a thing. Choose you or me. He chose George to be the messenger. And here's George giving out a message. Because now he's crying out, help, you're hurting me. This is what we as people of color, people, blacks and poor people and minorities have been crying out all our lives. But at least for 400 years, you're hurting us. You got your knee on us, you got chains on us, you got them around our necks, you got them on our hands, you got them on our feet, you got them on our mind. Get the hell off of us. For 400 years we've cried out. And that, my friends, is not just us here in America. That's the people all over the globe, wherever pain and suffering. There are people who walk around don't have shoes. There are people who walk around who don't have clean water. There are people who live in places, ladies and gentlemen, without any decency. It is pathetic human beings. Poor people. But the powers that be wants to be the power, wants to be the masters. And this is the result of their mastery. And so the brothers crying out. The world sees the sufferings of others. They see the pain and the agony that people go through. They see people. Oh, my friends, all you got to do is look around, especially if you are a victim of this hell. All you got to look around. You can cry sometimes because of the things that are happening. That doesn't mean that everything is looked to be so bad, because however bad you are, there's somebody that's even worse. And sometimes when you look at somebody that's so bad, it make you think you got something going on, only to look around to the other side and find out you are just as bad off as the one you think is bad. Why? Because you're looking at something. You're looking at to see some results in life. You don't just want to be shifting in here, out here, walking around, nothing to do with your skateboard in your hand, your head hanging down, or walking around with you can't go to school. You get out of high school, you can't go to college. You can't get a job that means anything to you, value, and make your life. Oh man, this is pure hell. If you can only fit it, and you can't fit it if you got no idea what heaven is like. And I want to make sure that you get a chance to know that. And so all of this pain and suffering that this brother is going through, what represents that all people who are victims of the powers are going through. But as we watch on, we don't do anything. We complain. We write books to try to make money. We tell stories about what's going on. But it keeps going on. 100 years. It keeps going on. 200 years. It keeps going on. 300 years. It keeps going on. 400 years. When is it going to stop? When is it going to stop? Can somebody tell us when it's going to stop? Maybe somebody is telling us. You look at the world is not telling us that when to stop. The people who were sitting there watching, who were filming the murder of George Floyd, who were saying, get up off and leave and you're killing him. That kind of stuff couldn't stop it. That's the world. That's all of us who are victims. That's those of us who perhaps aren't victims like that, but we sit around and do nothing. That includes people who got good spirits. That includes the Good Samaritans. That includes people who got religious concerns, who love God. That includes all of us. That, if it doesn't stop it, it's a waste. If it doesn't stop it, it's a waste. And for George Floyd, survival, it was a waste. But the whole thing, ladies and gentlemen, was not to take George Floyd's life to tell us it was a waste, but to point us in the direction of hope, to turn us into the path that will lead us out of this hell. Because everybody had failed this young man. He cried out to someone who could not come to his rescue. He cried out to his mom, someone who physically was not there. What he was saying to us, if we want to get out of this hell, if you want to get out of that knee off your neck, you got to get out, get that, you got to put somebody else on your neck. And who do you put on your neck? Someone you can't see, someone you cannot touch, someone you cannot feel. You cannot conjure up an emotion, but he's there because you know he's there, because your needs and your wants and your desires are beginning to get met. You know he's there because you have the essentials for survival. You got food, you got clothing, you got shelter, you got education, you got health care, never to be without it, and it's guaranteed and assured to you because everybody that receives of it participates in its creation. You got a career of your own choosing that gives you your greatest joy. Your greatest joy. It ain't just playing football or being an engineer or a doctor or a ditch digger. Whatever it is that gives you your greatest joy, it's essentially necessary to create heaven on earth. And so, ladies and gentlemen, the message from this great man, George Floyd, is that we got to forget about men ruling us. We must allow God, a power we can't see, to live inside of us. And we become the physical manifestation of that. And since we got 400 years of understanding that the white brothers and sisters that we have is no way going to relinquish anything. On the one hand, you got Donald Trump representing part of the white race, the Republican part, that wants to, what is he talking about doing now? He's talked about us, he's acknowledged that he can't stand us, black people are from some strange places, and he's talking about killing us. He's talking about killing us. And he's talking to other dictators, agreeing with the concentration camps and stuff and the persecution that they are sending people through. He's planning to do the same thing to people over in America. And hopefully, he's thinking that the whole world might do this. So the whole world will be dominated by a couple of men. Well, a couple of men used, they won't be the power. They just be used for the power. And so, ladies and gentlemen, in this situation, there's only one thing for us to do. We black people, we people of color, we the minorities, we the poor who have gone 400 years of suffering, we know what it's like. We know exactly what it's like. We do not wish it on anyone. And according to I want to call him Dr. Floyd, we got to call on God. And when we call on God, we are not bound to anything but to one another. We are free, according to my brother, by trusting in God. So, ladies and gentlemen, all of us, I'm asking us to all rise up and let us meet this occasion with confidence, knowing that we cannot be defeated, knowing that what we represent is love. And where love is, hate has no place. We don't run, hate does. And so we're coming together to give love a chance to glow like the sun in the sky every day. It is our duty, it is our charge, it is our responsibility to take the lead and do this. It can never come from the people who have been in power and prosecuting and persecuting people all of their entire existence. It's not going to happen, and we're not mad at that, because 400 years taught us we're not going to treat them like they treat us. They know they deserve it, but if it's going to come to them, let it come from God and not by us, because we're going to spend our time loving. And so, ladies and gentlemen, here's what we're going to do. They got Donald Trump. They're trying to play tricks. They got Donald Trump on the one hand and the Republican Party offering you more hell. And you know you don't want that. They don't even want some of it. On the other hand, they got Joe Biden, the Democrat, that they're putting before you as your other choice. You know, like the last time they put before you Trump and Ms. Clinton. Now they're putting before you Trump and Joe Biden. And you, the American people, you black people, you people of color, you poor people, you minorities who've been in bondage for over 400 years by people who look just like this Republican, who look just like these Democrats, who for 400 years kept you chained down, and today want to give you, release the police chokeholds. Today want to change the little policies, take some money out of the police department and give it in the community so you can play like you're doing something. And you still walk around with chains on your knees, on your hands, on your mind, and on your heart. This is what they're offering you. Hey, but see, that's where they're coming from. They didn't know that Dr. George Floyd, this murder had much more of an impact on our lives to stand up and be alive than any fear that we can ever have again from these that will kill us and those that will let us keep walking around with chains. So what we're going to do when we go to the polls to vote, my vote will not go for a Republican. My vote will not go for a Democrat. But as far as what I want for this country, which would give us peace and prosperity and freedom and joy and the fulfillment of our dreams, that's what I'm going to vote for. Now, neither of these offer that. So what I'm going to do for president, I'm going to write my name in. And if you feel the same way, I ask that you write your name in. And I'm hoping, this is my hope. I mean, I've been deceived and tricked before by believing that the world or the people were, they made a statement that it was true, that they meant it. I've been tricked, but I still hope. I hope that there are enough people in this country that is going to put their faith in God. People who have been victims for 400 years. Now that means all black people. That means all people of color. That means all poor people. That means all minorities. I hope that you can recognize and choose this as a moment, because this didn't just happen in a vacuum. God made sure that the whole world saw this judgment. And now it is time for you to choose who you going to serve. Are you going to serve man, or are you going to serve one another, thereby serving God? And it is by serving God that we will have our heaven on earth, not by anything that the people that's been in power since it's been out there going to do. They're not going to do anything. And in this time, their reign is over. How long, I don't know. But their reign is over. And every person of color should have that in their mind, that the reign of the power broker is over. And now it's a new day. And we are going to remove Trump off the throne, and we're going to put God on the throne. And God will only be a spirit that lives inside of us. And by what we do to show our love will be the evidence that, hey, we got this. God got this show. I want to thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me this your time. It's been a pleasure. Good night.